Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Inspector Sean Anderson, and I'm the Incident Commander for the evacuation and subsequent search of the residents on Habitat Crescent. So by way of background, on the evening of April 26th of 2025, police conducted a check on the welfare of an adult male at the residence in question. At the time of the investigation, police observed in plain view unknown chemicals and substances, as well as materials that are known to be precursors that can be used in the manufacturing of explosives. Since the incident, the property has been secured and held as a crime scene by police. Over the following week, explosives and chemistry specialists did an initial survey of the contents of the home and conducted risk assessments accordingly. It was determined that until the substances are removed from the residence, there would be no immediate threat to public safety. Tomorrow, we will begin conducting a more thorough search of the home and removal of the hazardous materials. The process of moving the materials may introduce some hazards, which is why, out of an abundance of caution, we are asking the selected residents to evacuate their homes by 9 p.m. tonight. The residents that are being evacuated have been contacted directly by police, starting last night and in through this morning. Arrangements for hotels, transportation, and food are being made for any evacuee who requires them. We are working with the City of Edmonton and the Red Cross to provide those supports. We recognize that this is a significant inconvenience for the residents, and we will do our best to get them back into their homes as soon as it is safe to do so. However, we are asking residents to prepare for the possibility that they may not be able to access their residence for several days. In the interest of public safety, this area will be closed off to the media and the public while emergency responders do their work. We will provide an update as soon as possible. And police are still investigating how and why these substances are stored in this residence. It's not known what the occupants' intentions were with the hazardous materials, and no charges have been laid at this time. While the investigation remains underway, we don't have as many answers as I know you'd probably want today, but we will update you accordingly as that investigation moves forward. I want to close by just reassuring the citizens that at this time, our primary concern is public safety. Over the past week, we have been taking all necessary precautions to ensure these materials are removed in the safest manner possible. Unfortunately, this means evacuating people from their homes, which is never easy, but it is what we need to do to keep people safe. Thank you, and I'm going to turn the podium over to Mayor Sohi.
Well, thank you. As your mayor, your safety is our top priority. Emergency services are working diligently to resolve the situation and ensure everyone is safe. I would like to thank Edmonton Police Service, Edmonton Fire Rescue Services, and the City of Edmonton's Office of Emergency Management for their collaborative efforts to help our neighbors return home as quickly and safely as possible. It is natural to feel uneasy during events like this. And I can appreciate that some residents may have mixed emotions about leaving their homes. But I strongly encourage everyone, all the residents, to evacuate if they're asked to do so. There are supports in place to help impacted households. The Edmonton Police Service is working with the City of Edmonton to address the needs of affected residents by providing support and the resources to those affected, such as alternative accommodation and transportation. If residents are otherwise in the neighborhood over the next few days and asked to follow instructions from EPS, please do so. This is to keep both residents and emergency responders safe. EPS is leading this effort and can answer any additional questions on this response. I also want to thank my colleague, Councillor Piquet, who and his team has been out in the neighborhood talking to the residents and giving them the comfort and the support they need during this difficult time. So with that, I'm going to ask Councillor Piquet to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for coming. If I could speak directly to residents at this point, and I hope you do air this, please take this seriously. There are many people who may feel that they do not want to evacuate because you have specific challenges or concerns. I understand this, and I am with you. However, every accommodation has been made So if you are one of those who feels that perhaps there is no place for you to go reliably or comfortably or safely, be assured that there will be a place for you, for your lifestyle, and for your pets, for your children, and all of your needs in this immediate moment will be taken care of. I will be out in the community again this afternoon to relay this message to you and to highly encourage you to follow the direction and the suggestion of EPS to evacuate. Now, there are those outside of the immediate radius who may have concerns, and I'll say to you right now, if you are outside of the radius, it means that your home has been deemed safe. However, you may also want to take precautions with children to ensure that they are not leaving the home into the area in question. Again, we will be out there to answer your questions and to ensure that you are safe, and that is our highest priority. I want to thank all of our helping organizations, EPS, Fire Services, the City of Edmonton Emergency Management Services, and all of our partners who are working together quickly and diligently to ensure that all people are taken care of. Again, please do take this seriously. Please follow the instructions and suggestions to evacuate. This may be an event that reaches the worst case scenario. Believe that. Now, it is possible that this is contained within hours. However, we cannot prepare for the best in this scenario. We must prepare for the worst. So for those who are evacuating, plan for 3 days of being away from your home. It is very likely that you will not have to take those 3 days, but it is prudent to have that plan. And again, many of you will be concerned because you have small children, you have work, you have school, you have doctor appointments to get to. We will ensure that you can fulfill your obligations. No one will be left on their own, and you will have the full support of our services in this time. Thank you very much.
So we'll just go to questions, and we do have Deputy Fire Chief Grant McAllister here to answer any questions about fire and EOC, and then we also have Inspector Tom Morrison, who is in charge of the investigative area that's investigating the additional incident that led to this evacuation. We can go to questions.
It sounds very serious, but mysterious. Could you shed any light at all on what you're looking for? I know there's still no search the residence, but...
Yeah, so the initial search of the scene on April 26th just revealed chemical substances that are not commonly found in a household. By themselves, they're not so much an issue. The concern is whether there's chemicals that have been combined that we're not aware of as part of that search. So as we know, in a regular environment, chemicals themselves are generally stable. The concern would be as to whether there's additional things that we didn't see, because we didn't do a full search on the initial check.
Is it drug related?
We don't know what it's related. The chemicals could be related to the harvesting of precious metals off of electronics. It could be related to, some of them are precursors to explosives, as we've mentioned. So until we get into a proper search of the residence, we don't really know what we're looking at there.
Can you tell us what you saw? I mean, well, first of all, what brought police to this home for the welfare check? Was it a family member, or what was the cause of the welfare check? And what did they see that would give them enough vision or information to know that this is a bad situation for that doorway?
So the initial call itself was, again, as in relation to a check on the welfare of a suicidal male. I don't know exactly what got them past the threshold in. I believe it was a public safety check to ensure everything was okay. And the house itself is relatively in a state of disorder. And there was just containers and objects that had various chemicals all over them with names written on containers. So we don't truly know even what the chemicals are per se. We know what's written on containers that aren't traditional containers.
Is this man known to police, and does he suffer from mental illness?
He's known to police. I don't want to speculate on the mental illness piece. That's part of the broader investigation that I think when we get to the conclusion of the investigation, we'll have a better idea what that's like.
So how is he known to police in multiple situations?
He does have a criminal history, nothing related to what we've seen in the house.
Why are police doing this like 11 days later?
Well, part of the reason is it was as much about risk assessment, and we wanted to be able to safely be in a position to go into the residence. Over the course of the last week, our bomb disposal unit has been engaged with other agencies across the country. They've been engaged with chemists to kind of understand what the possible volatility is in that residence. So we wanted to make sure that we're sending our members into as informed as possible and into as safe an environment as possible.
Councilor Burkett mentioned worst case scenario. Would that be, are you worried about an explosion happening potentially?
Well, again, some of the articles are precursors to explosives. We don't know that there's explosives in the house, but again, until we get in and do a proper search, we don't specifically know what we're dealing with, nor do we know the true amounts.
Are these chemicals easily obtained? Like, does this person have to go out of his way to get them, or you just go to get them easily at a supply place in town? I mean,
I think some of them are easily obtained. I'm not one who's gone out to buy this stuff, so I honestly don't know how easily they are obtained, but certainly they're not uncommon chemicals. They're found in most laboratories, I would imagine.
If people don't want to leave their homes, or maybe you're knocking on the door, no one's answering, someone's inside, will there be forced removal, or what would the action say?
We aren't in a position to forcefully remove people from the residence. We're going to strongly encourage that they abide by the order we're giving. Ultimately, if they choose to stay in the residence, they're inheriting a certain sort of risk, and we don't really want them to be put in that position. From what I've been told, the initial messaging to the community last night and into this morning went fairly positively. I think the response in general has been taken up fairly well.
Can you give us the ballpark area or neighborhood?
It's in the Habitat Crescent neighborhood, so east of 50th Street, and I'm trying to think of the avenue, north of Hermitage.
And how many residents are asking to be evacuated?
So I believe it was 46 residents. It's in a townhome complex, so yeah, it's pretty much anything within the line of sight of the residents that we're searching.
something like this happened in recent memory where EPS had to evacuate a neighborhood because of some type of investigation?
Not to my recollection, no. Having said that, we did do a transport a couple years ago where some chemicals were discovered, I'm not even sure what it was that was discovered at the U of A that required transport from there down to Horlack Park for disposal, which resulted in road closures and the like.
What are some potential charges that could come? Because I think back to sometimes when there's been, let's say, a meth lab explosion, even then, I don't think we've evacuated for stuff like that. So I guess why is this, how is that different than, how is this different than that, and what could be potential charges?
Well, I'd say like a meth lab explosion is more of a reactive event, like we were responding after it's already happened. Here we have the benefit of kind of slowing things down and doing it properly. As far as charges go, that I'd be speculating at this point. It's entirely possible that there's a non-criminal reason for this individual possessing the chemicals and they're just not stored properly, and I'd be purely speculating at this point as far as charges.
How long do you anticipate it to remove all this stuff out and get it out of there? And is it EPS doing it, or is it fire doing it? Like, how does this?
It's EPS along with the hazmat teams will be present at the time. They're going to initially start with some air quality testing just to make sure it's a safe environment to be in without breathing apparatus. And best case scenario, it's all chemicals that are just improperly stored, and hopefully within several hours we can be in and out of there. As far as disposing of them, it'll depend if we need to do it, or if it's simply just hazardous materials, it would probably be turned over to the hazmat teams to ensure they're properly disposed of.
So was there some sort of concern that there was some sort of plan maybe that this gentleman was trying to do? Because you mentioned that he was suicidal.
No indication of that at this point.
What does he say? I mean, what is he, when you walk in and you're like, hey, how you doing? What's with this stuff? What was his reaction?
I can tell you he's been cooperative with the investigators. He's provided an explanation for the chemicals. Until we get through the entire investigation, we don't know what stock to put in that.
Have neighbors expressed concerns there anyone else that lived in the home or lived in the home?
Not that I'm aware of, that the neighbors have expressed concerns, and he's the lone occupant of the suite.
Mayor, so here, Councilor Paquette, can you outline what supports are going to be available for those residents who have to leave their homes?
Absolutely. City is committed to provide whatever support is necessary for the households, whether it's transportation support, whether it's accommodation support, and Councillor Paquette has been out meeting with residents and has identified some specific language-related supports that are necessary, or looking after people's pets, and whatever support is required will be provided through Red Cross through City of Edmonton.
Is the province involved in any way, like putting folks up in hotel rooms and taking care of food, stuff like that?
Red Cross is involved. I don't know. Well, when we activate the City of Edmonton's emergency management system, other support systems also kick in, including notifications to the province of Alberta.